we are live with another Biddle. Just me and Joe right now.
That's right. And that's because everybody else is stuck on loading 1804 Ubuntu.
So anyway, continue on about GIMP.
Well, I was starting. You said don't say anything because Michael will go on, but Michael's the one that actually talked about it today on his live show. So that's what prompted me to go and load the Flatpak for it.
Yeah, well, he's not a fan of.
Yeah,
he's not a fan of GIMP. But
yeah, maybe he's changing though. The fact that he brought it up, I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe he'll like it.
Right,
Lamer.
Hey guys,
Nick, what's going on?
I don't know. Can you guys hear us?
Hey everyone.
What's happening?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if Lamer can yet. He's gonna see a response.
Lamer, you didn't distro hop, did you? He can't hear us yet.
Yeah. Oh, he said hold for a sec, so he's trying to get something set there. That's okay. So
it's all right, Colin. It's all good, man. Colin's not going to make it. Zeb is not going to make it tonight, actually, as well. So
yeah.
He's not. He's like feeling under the weather. So.
Oh, poor guy.
And there is Derek.
Hey, Derek.
Oh man, he distro hopped too, because you could tell. Because
I know that because he did it last night. Unless he did it again. Yeah, he went back on Manjaro last night.
Are you working yet, dude? Derek?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, about time. You distro hopped, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I figured.
Now,
what are you on now?
Did you distro hop from last night, though, Derek? Or are you still on that?
Nah, I'm on Manjaro.
Yeah, okay.
Which one? Which release of Manjaro are you on?
Guys, give me just a second.
Okay. Nick, what do you run, man?
What am I running?
Yeah.
I run Arco Linux.
Do you?
Nice.
Nice.
How you liking it?
Well, you know why that is, eh?
No, why is that?
Because of one of the developers beside Eric Dubois.
Are you?
Oh,
awesome. Nice. Yeah. Geez, we had Eric on Destination Linux a couple weeks ago.
We're a team of 5.
5 now.
Yeah, we're a team of 5.
So were you a developer for what was it before? Oh my gosh. I'm slipping my mind. Before he changed the name.
Yes. When it was Archmerge.
Yeah, Archmerge, that's what it was. Sorry. Nice.
Hello.
Uh-oh. Carl Schneider in the house.
What's up, Carl?
So, Nick, what's your thing? What do you do, man? Like, what do you work on the most dev-wise?
Well, pretty much a little bit of everything. What else? I did a lot of the Awesome WM, the BSP WM.
Nice.
But a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. There's not like one set thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to do something like that, but never had the talent for it.
Can you guys hear
me?
Lamer.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you now, dude.
All right, make sure. I'm on Linux Lite beta right now. Linux Lite 4.
The 4.0 beta, yeah.
Yep.
I seen that came out. Yep. So this is like Ubuntu week. So we have to talk about the Ubuntus. Because that's what it is. So who's tried what?
Well,
Linux Lite 4.
Yeah, I've tried them all in VMs on actual hardware. You guys know I was running Ubuntu about 3 weeks ago. I've run the mainline Ubuntu on actual hardware. I've tested it out, but along the way, not in the last week or two.
You're not a regular Ubuntu fan, are you?
yeah, I could use it, but I wouldn't use any of them because I don't normally live in full desktop environments anyway. I mean, I wouldn't run any of them normally, but I wouldn't say I'm not a fan of them. You know, they're just not for me. Yeah. I would have no problem though using the regular Ubuntu with GNOME.
Well, see, that's the thing, you know, like everybody considers me a distro hopper, and I guess I kind of am, but I've been running the Ubuntu version for, well, it's got to been like 3 or 4 weeks now, ain't?
Yeah.
That's like a lifetime for me.
Yeah. Well, no, what you were on? Well, what were you on before the holidays? I thought you were on something for a while too.
I thought I was on
Mate for a while.
I was on Mate for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
But I actually got to install Mate on the laptop, and that's about it for me as far as the 1804 versions that came out. I didn't try Ubuntu yet. I didn't try Budgie yet. There's like so many to try, and I haven't done any of them yet. So, yeah, what are you gonna do? Tomorrow's another day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought Ubuntu was great. I checked it out in a VM. You know, XFCE is really light, really fast. You know, that's kind of my speed. Budgie seemed kind of sluggish to me. It looks beautiful though. I like the Budgie desktop, but
Budgie has some great defaults. I know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we could hear you, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm planning to test out Ubuntu 1804 later on.
Yeah.
I want to see.
I do like that non-driverless printing and some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's in the 18 series, yeah.
Yeah. I boot up on the printing application on my Linux Lite, and I just saw my printer automatic on there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a good thing, let me tell you. But the one thing I want to try Ubuntu for is to see if they got that dual monitor problem that I have fixed. They said they worked on dual monitor support in one of the releases that's coming up, either this one or the next one, and I got to see if it's actually fixed. So
yeah, that's one of my problems with a lot of these distros. Well, with the desktop environments, not the distros themselves. Is you know, I use 3 monitors. If I can't put a panel on every monitor, I can't use your desktop environment. So, you know, things like Budgie are out, Deepen's out. I mean, they look great. I would love to be able to use them, but if I have, if I was running 6 monitors, I could only have a panel on 1 monitor. That's crazy, you know.
Right. Well, for me, the dual monitor thing was that just Windows would randomly appear on the other monitor. Games, programs, whatever. I'd have this set as the display, as the main monitor, and yet they would still appear.
You did that in the NVIDIA settings, set it for a primary monitor?
Yes, I did. I set it in the NVIDIA settings, and where else did I set it?
Sometimes your window manager will let you set that too.
I set it in the window manager, but I set it in NVIDIA, but I also saved it to the Xorg config, and it's still didn't affect it at all. So there's some setting overriding something that's just because a lot of times on a lot of distros, and I don't know why, but my secondary monitor usually is the default. So if I boot into it, for some reason, the secondary monitor is always the default. And then I change it, and then it respects that. But in XFCE, it just kind of like goes off the way a little bit. But,
okay.
Yours are the same DPI, your monitors?
No, they're not.
Okay, because that's the thing with mine. I noticed since the widescreen is a different DPI, I'm starting to think that's part of the issues too with some of these distros. But it's still the assignment, what you're saying. I get that because I have kind of the same issue. And although I mentioned it last week, I haven't tried changing cables around, but my solution is to go to a bigger monitor. That's what I'm going to do, even bigger than what I just did. So
I wonder if the new Ubuntu Mate
less power sources running and all that. So
what'd you say, Nick?
I wonder if the new Ubuntu Mate will work for you because that's supposed to auto-detect high DPI now.
Well, Mate never had a problem with that. I've even before the 1804 release, 1710 worked perfectly with the dual monitors, and that was kind of like the testing that I did where I would try XFCE and then I would try Mate to make sure it was working. And Mate, no matter what, every time went on the right monitor. So I don't know where the difference is, where the desktop environments are getting where it's getting the information to put the program on what screen, but Mate works perfect.
Well, I tried it today just for the hell of it, the 1804, but it crashed. The menu crashed on me twice. So
Really?
yeah, but I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just came in. I also tried the KDE version as well, and that also crashed.
Wow.
But it's the first day it's out. The second day. So.
Well, that's the first time I've heard somebody like report that they had that many crashes with the 1804.
Well, there's been a few online too. If you watch the videos, Linux and stuff. That guy there.
Yeah, Dave.
Today.
Hold on. Lamer, I think we're getting some feedback on your end anyway.
Nick, can you bring your volume up a little bit? I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay, hold on here. Wasn't sure if it was high enough or not. I'll turn it up right now.
I blame Pulse Audio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, I can't hear him at all.
Is that loud now?
No, it's kind of distorted. Like it's not that it sounds like it would be louder, but it's distorted a little bit.
Yeah, it was
It's like
clear.
overmodulated, I guess.
Okay, hold on here.
And
But-
you might be able to go into Zoom settings also and check it there. You can actually manually adjust them in Zoom as well too.
Yep.
Well, the last 3 times I hopped, I remembered to save my Zoom config file.
So that's the only way to go, dude.
Because
The
you
only way to
remember
go.
there for like 7-8 weeks straight where I was hopping, it was a mess every time. I finally learned, just copy that one file over.
Yep. I'll take certain programs. There's probably like 10 programs that I will always save the .config files for, like Firefox, Thunderbird, AutoKey. I got to save that one. Zoom, Kdenlive, OBS. There's like eight or so programs that I will make sure that I save. Everything else I can just reset, but those I don't feel like resetting all the time.
Sorry about that. Train just went by.
It's all good, man.
Does that sound better now?
No,
No?
Not really now.
I feel bad now because you sounded clearer before, but
yeah, when you came in,
quiet.
it was clear, and I don't know.
It was just quiet on my end.
I just turned it down a little bit in case it was distorting, but I did a Zoom today. It was okay too.
Yeah, not sure what's going on there. Because when you first came in, it was perfect,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of like got a little bit goofy.
Well, there's also an auto setting too, I think, in Zoom.
Yeah, if you go
You wanna
to
turn that
the little arrow there next to the video and go to video settings, it'll get you to the settings. You can click on the audio tab, and there should be a box in there to uncheck that Zoom will automatically lower and raise your volume.
Okay. Well, I just unchecked it now.
Is that Tom from Switch to Linux says, I'll join you when I can get Zoom working.
Yeah, I guess he must have hopped too.
Now, and I took that off, so might be better now. It's not automatic. It's in the microphone anymore.
Well, let's put it this way. We can hear you. It's just not the perfect sound, that's all. So,
Okay. If it gets bad, I'll leave and I'll come back in. That's what happened a bit today. I was talking to actually with Eric Dubois, and I had to leave the Zoom and come back in. And well, it's fine.
right. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see about these betas or these Ubuntu releases here because, like Nick, you had that issue where some of them were crashing, and like I said, yet I didn't hear of that at all. So
I had one in a VM that I had programs crashing on me, and that was Mate actually.
Yeah.
really,
Yes, I had like the menu system, like the brisk menu was crashing on me. That was strange. Yeah.
It's when you go from like Cupertino to something else and you go back again, the menu will crash.
No, this was just on boot up. Yeah.
Wow.
And
That's
the funny thing is the first time I tried it, I checked live CD before I installed it, and it crashed. So then I took it out, added it into the VM, and then I did an install of it. And I thought, well, let me do a minimal install, and sure enough, it did it again. Yet when I did the first beta release, I had not one problem with it. It ran perfect.
Yeah, and I've like taken a look at Mate before. 1710 worked perfect. It was strange because when I installed it in a VM and logged in the first time, you get the welcome greeter that pops up.
Yep.
And all I got was a white screen, and I waited like a couple minutes thinking this thing would eventually load. That program, that welcome program, never loaded. So right away, the very first thing that popped up crashed on me.
I didn't have that issue, but it took forever for it to load.
Yeah, because they install it, I think, as a snap. There's a bug, and they know about it. Yeah, the snaps for the welcome screen and the software boutique is installed as a snap. And for some reason, in a VM, they just will not load up. You will sit there, you will wait all day, and it will not load. So, and they know about it. There's been bugs filed about it.
Well, Toss, are you on your 1804 now, or are you on Windows?
I'm on the Ubuntu Mate 1804. I had to use the terminal to force the upgrade. The pop-up, didn't pop up for some reason still. So I used the terminal command, and I got it to work. It took about an hour, 15 minutes, rebooted, all stable. Some panel issues, but me, it's not the crashing. There's like 2 panel variations where if I choose it, all I have are the bars, top and bottom bars, and nothing on. It's kind of weird. And the HUD will not work for me at all. Not that I really use it.
Really?
It will not work. I think it's what? Alt-L, I think, is the key.
I thought it was just Alt.
I think
in Ubuntu, in the Unity, it was just Alt. Yeah, should pull up the HUD.
I thought I saw it. Well, it came up with the pop-up, but like when I hover to enable HUD, it says Alt-L, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe they couldn't map it to just the Alt key for.
Well, whatever. In fact, I'm trying it now. It's not working. Yeah.
Well, that's no good, man.
I mean, it's not something I really use, to be quite honest. But in terms of stability, I'm running it now.
Did you upgrade from 1604 or from 1710?
1710.
Okay.
1710. I probably would not have done it from 16. I probably would have done it fresh, but because it was, next progression, from 1710, I did it. So I felt. I mean, of course I backed up first.
Always.
But no, always, obviously. But no, I had to do the terminal commands to, force it, how to watch it, hit Y, yes, a couple times. Rebooted once, and it's fine except for the panel issues. I mean, my favorite panel works. I use either it's the basic one with the brisk, drop down menu. I forget what it's called.
Was it familiar?
Maybe it's that one. Yeah.
The familiar one is the. It looks like GNOME 2.
That's it. Just one panel at the top, brisk menu, and just like GNOME. I like to keep it simple because that's how I had it before. And but other than the panel thing and the HUD not working, everything works. Yeah. Maybe it's a bug that they're aware of and they're working on it, but I mean, it's not a deal breaker.
Right.
I mean, like if it was unstable, I wouldn't be using it. Like if I couldn't use, Kden Live or Screen Recorder or Audacity, if I couldn't use those, then that would be the end of this. But no, it's stable. Just a few, quirks here and there with the panel, but it's not that big of a deal.
So he is right. Steve is right. You need to be in a layout that uses the global menu in order for the global menu to work.
I think the Mutiny
Mutiny layout, and one of the other ones.
Probably the Mac one, the Cupertino.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why the HUD's not completely working right, because you're not in that layout.
I tried all the layouts. It would not work. It would not work. It's kind of weird. Yeah. I mean, I rebooted again, checked for updates again, but
when I looked at it in a VM, there was one of the 7 layouts. When I went to it, it was buggy. All I got was blank panels. There were no applets. There were no menu system. It was just like I got a blank panel and nothing on it.
I think I noticed that too.
I forget which one of the 7 it was, but it was.
I thought maybe it's one of the artifacts of a VM, which it can happen.
Maybe if I'd have logged out and logged back in, but I just switched to a different layout.
I don't know. Maybe I'll send a bug report to Martin, and let him know. Maybe maybe he already knows it. But the layout that I like, that I use, it's fine. So.
And it's probably tough for those guys because, with Ubuntu having a set schedule, like we're releasing on this day, guys, whether it's,
whether it's ready or not.
Right.
And that, the downside to that is just what's happening now. If you still got bugs, that doesn't leave, we know, but I mean, somebody coming to this, that wouldn't leave very good impression.
It's not true, but it's not stability bugs. It's cosmetic. More or less, you know what I mean? It's probably. Probably for a new user, probably doesn't look good, but it's not like, oh my God, don't use it. That's not true. Obviously.
It's not a blue screen of death here,
Right. But
think without the release, that would it ever be ready?
Right.
No.
It's not a screen of, or in my case, in the past, it was a black screen of death in Ubuntu. But
most users
I've had the kernel panic before. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Most users that are going to be on 1804 eventually are running 1604. They're not going to be offered that upgrade until like July. They got like 2 months.
Probably. Yeah, but I was on 1710. I wasn't offered it, but I mean, maybe it's coming. I don't know. But
yeah, on the it's like 1710. A lot of times those releases, I think they wait 2 or 3 days.
You would have got
it. You would have got it quick, but the LTS guys, they got to wait.
If I would have waited a week, probably would have got it, but I wasn't patient. So,
Well, the only bug that I'm experiencing in regular Ubuntu is the one that was on Ubuntu before, even in 1710, and then kind of went away, and now it's kind of back. Where if I hit the drop-down menu to restart or suspend, it'll hang for probably 25 seconds before the actual box pops up. And
I don't have that bug. I had a bug I mentioned last night on my Mate and Meatballs show. Thank you, Derek. That was a good one. Mate and Meatballs. No, I wanted to burn a music CD to put in the car in the regular Ubuntu. I downloaded Zero, and it froze. It just hung and hung and hung, and I just stopped. I went to Ubuntu Mate, no problem. So.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah, hi Tom.
Okay, I can't see me either. All right.
Yeah, we can see you.
Linux Mint Cinnamon, telling you.
That didn't work for me either. Trying to make a CD.
No.
So what were you trying? What were you trying that it didn't work on?
Ubuntu Budgie.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I mean it was just giving me error after error after error, and then so I pull out the camera and the microphone to pull those over and just move computers, and I pulled the hard drive too.
Oops.
Oops. But this is actually better because I can work on my podcasts while we talk.
Welcome to Linux. Yeah.
I will say, for those of you that have looked at like all the flavors a little bit, doesn't it seem like the mainline Ubuntu edition is by far the most polished and put together? Like that thing, it looks solid. All the other ones, they look like they could have used a few more weeks of, working on some bugs.
I don't know. I mean, I looked at the betas, but Ubuntu with GNOME is the slowest. So.
I just can't. No, I just can't do it.
You can't do GNOME?
No.
GNOME is all right. It just the memory leak is the worst thing for me.
Yeah. Well.
I do like GNOME.
Yeah, but all you gotta do is restart.
All you got to do is restart your desktop environment.
You just got to restart the shell every so often. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not affected by the leak in most things. The only thing that messes me up on GNOME is Google Music, the Google Music desktop player. That thing will just eat up the memory to the point where you'll hit the play button and it won't even recognize that you hit the play button for another 10 or 15 seconds.
Yeah.
That's the only program that does that, though.
Yeah, I was using Fedora, and I think Google Chrome had that problem with me too.
I mean, it does look polished. I mean, Derek's got a point. Ubuntu with GNOME does look polished. And the only bug, well, if you want to call it a bug, was trying to burn a music CD. But other than that, I have to say, I haven't noticed any bugs or any problems. I mean, of course, Ubuntu doesn't have a panel change or anything like that. But
is that Ryan?
Yo,
What's happening, guys?
hey.
Oh, the rap star's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the raps.
MC to root. Huh?
He knows.
We're gonna have a
And
live
Michael's
rap.
in the house, man.
Yeah.
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 Well, you said.
Yeah.
Was that mine?
We definitely proved to the world, Derek, that we can't rap.
Yeah, but one of us made a bigger fool out of themselves than the other.
I know. I feel bad for you.
You knew where I was going with
Quick.
that.
Quick. Hey, Michael, thanks a lot. I loaded the GIMP flat pack today, the 2.10. I love it.
You're welcome.
That was all because of your show, brother. I've been watching. All of a sudden, you say, "Oh, it's out." I go, "Oh, let me just." While I was watching your show, I loaded it.
Nice. It's
Nice.
the latest version is like probably like the first time GIMP has been like reasonably usable for most people. Well, not most people, but in general, like they've added a lot of like non-destructive stuff, which is finally
A good thing.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the fact that they had no non-destructive and now they do is game changing for them.
Nice. Well, Softpedia, what's it say on this article? What did I say it said, Jeff? It says this latest release is the biggest yet, bringing so many changes that it would be impossible for us to list.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, it had been a long time between a major release. I mean,
It's like 6 years. Yeah.
yeah, I remember when 2.8 came out, and people were excited about that because it was a big release because it had been so many years between. So they don't do releases very often. Yeah.
Well, I started talking to some of them for the Git developers, and turns out the reason why they don't have that many, they have very long spans between the two, is because they have very few people working on that project, like 6 people,
Yeah.
and only 2 of them work on the core. So there's 2 that are like documentation people, 2 that are working on the core, and 2 that do like random contributions and stuff.
Right.
So it's and one there's actually like the Gaggle library, which is like one of the fundamental pieces of GIMP that has like 90% of the benefits of GIMP is the new filter structure is built on Gaggle, and that's one guy building Gaggle. So it's crazy how much work is put into it by so few people.
Yeah.
Do you think they ever will change the name, though? I know you referenced it
No.
today. If they did, or is it because
They're never gonna change it. They've had 20 years to change it. They're never gonna change it.
I mean, anymore, they'd call it Gimma.
Or Gems. Call it Gems with an S. That'd be fun. Like, it's a terrible name. And they know it's terrible, and they even make ridiculously bad puns on the mascot.
They could call it Jamobi.
The
Sure.
funny thing about that is we had a dog named Gimpy one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, we found him on the side of the road. Apparently, he got his paw caught in a trap, so he had a really mangled paw his whole life, and so he'd always,
Poor Gimpy.
and so yeah,
No.
we called it Gimpy.
I had a dog named Santana years ago back in Brooklyn. I remember that.
Scrap in the house.
What's up, Scrap?
Jaw.
I need a third monitor.
Right?
Barb, there's
Barbara
2 of
joined
you.
twice?
Just get a 43-inch.
That's what I was thinking.
There's 2 of you,
Barbara
Barb.
has a twin.
There's 2 of
What
you
do
in
you
there
mean
now.
2 of me?
There's 2 of you in here. Oh, there, that one's gone. Now there's only
I
one.
thought
of
she
you.
had a twin.
Oh, please.
We just
I
had
was
the Barbara
married to
encouragement.
someone
Oh,
kind of
gee.
man.
It's that freaking panel changer again. No, just kidding.
No. Workspaces.
Barbara, if you could teach me how to do that, I would love to have multiple.
That was pretty cool.
Well, no, what was happening was my internet keeps going down, and we've had so much crazy rain. So then I tried to use my iPad as a hotspot, and there was a point where they were both connected, so you were getting it twice.
I think that there's that famous rap star that's in here now. Oh no, that's just Scrapjaw.
What?
That's not nice.
And I'm still working on my response. It's been a busy week. That's why I couldn't get to it. So.
Right.
I think he was self-indulging there, Rocco.
Yeah.
He was doing a Michael.
Derek was
Well,
too
one
busy
thing I give
crying
Mike
to
credit.
film the response video.
Watching a commercial.
Self-indulgence is doing a Michael.
So, Ryan.
He doesn't know you, right?
Barbara, I did not.
No, what's
Whatever you
hilarious?
heard in the episode was not true, Barbara. I did not say that. Rocket
yes, you
edited
did.
it
You
to make it sound like that.
Blanket manual. And that's
Yeah.
I am somebody who doesn't just like I research, look, read. I'm a woman. I read the manual.
Oh,
Women read the manual.
that was just good editing by Rocco. Don't believe everything you
So,
said.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I-
how Das Geek made it into the
Yeah.
Ubuntu Mate release notes.
because he doesn't read the manual.
Mission accomplished.
So
It was a
anyway,
life goal, but not in that way. You know,
Right? I know what you mean.
I liked Martin. He gave
isn't
a
he
couple good zingers there, Ryan. He got you good.
You know, it was the ultimate troll, and then it was also nice because it drove a ton of people to the channel. But I don't know if it was the good kind of traffic. But it
Really,
was the
Michael?
ultimate troll that nobody
Really?
can top.
He said the self-indulgence joke as I was logging in with this phone.
Oh my God.
Michael is brilliant, dude. We should get a side profile, the whole time. We need a side profile.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Although I just closed that, I think.
so is
Thank
my
goodness.
connection better now, guys?
There we go.
It is.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, my internet.
Really, Michael? Really?
Hi.
You get Michael in 3D.
Oh, that's scary.
HDR.
Love it.
I'm surprised he's not running a 360 camera on himself.
Oh, I'm gonna get a drone and everything.
Yeah.
Just have it hover overhead.
Yeah.
I can give you a cat to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think the cat would appreciate the camera attached to him.
You can get cat cams. There was a whole episode of PBS on Nature where they actually did that. They put cat cams on them to see what their cats were doing. Leave it to the British. No offense.
And like probably 50% of it was trying to keep the cam off of him.
No, actually, I guess these were cats that normally had collars on, so they didn't mind.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we got a cat. We got a cam.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
He just got him out of here.
That one did not appreciate that at all.
The other time, like, you're just sticking something in his face, too, like that. If you were smart now,
That's
Tom,
my
you
antisocial cat, though. So
well, but in fairness, he loves his treats. So if you had a treat in your hand instead of that other thing, you'd have probably been okay.
This is very true indeed.
That was good, though.
Yeah.
So, Joe, if you want your question from last week from Michael answered, we have over an hour left in the stream, so
Which question was
there
that?
might be enough time.
Everyone else can turn off their cam.
Yeah.
yeah.
About the
What was it?
Microsoft Linux, about the Azure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Remember last week you were trying to get that question in
Oh, yeah. We were gonna
about
cover
what
that.
it was about.
Yeah.
So we have over an hour. So Michael, you can explain it.
But isn't it really supposed to be just an IoT type?
Wait, just in 1 hour? That's it?
Well, I'm
Give us the
trying to
short
cut it
version.
down.
He's
Okay.
trying to do a compressed version of the Michael
Yeah.
Tunnell Tux Digital.
Wow. Wow.
I know that's pretty impossible.
The short
but
version.
throw in that
right.
Amazon link too.
You're right, Narcissus.
So here's the 2 cents part of it.
yeah.
Basically, they decided that desktop is not worth their time and effort for the money, so they're just copying everyone else and going to IoT and cloud. And IoT is probably the most possibility that they have an actual chance to provide the end-to-end thing. So they're providing the software, the hardware, the cloud, and all that stuff. It's just a box you buy, and then you can use it. Whereas other things like Ubuntu dominates the cloud in general. So their only option they had, because Windows is awful, on small end devices, or just in general. And so they had to do something, and the only option they really had was either make a BSD or a Linux, and Linux is the lesser of the effort. There you go. They gave in to the whole. They realized that Windows is irrelevant, and Linux is taking over. And
now, if we just
welcome
have it on the same
Microsoft.
happen on the
That's-
desktop, we'd
that's
all be
funny.
happy campers.
That's funny. Windows is irrelevant.
It is.
Terminated.
Well, they're bringing SQL Server to Linux. They've already brought .NET to it. Like they've pretty much realized that that Windows is a dying system.
But it's
going
interesting how
extinct.
much they're promoting it like it's some huge deal, you know. And
I mean, it is going to benefit them as far as Azure, because Azure is Azure is their main moneymaker now. Like that's their main focus now.
So
'Cause it
they're
makes-
going the way of the way that IBM did. They're becoming just basically a services company.
Oh no! They're doing more because IBM never produced their own hardware, and they're doing it with the Surface, and they're doing it with this new
well,
IoT
on their
management
mainframes they
hardware.
did. Yeah.
Right, but this is more of a like they're trying to go for the consumer side. They're going to compete with Dell and stuff like that too, which is weird considering Dell still relies on Windows so heavily.
Hey,
No. Wow.
he doesn't want me to get him off my lap.
Yeah.
That cat has 25 toes, also.
25 claws.
Yeah, 25 claws. 24. He lost one.
oh boy.
But
Well,
anyway,
well,
it's not
that was
that big a deal. It's just interesting that after they announced that they're putting Windows on a back burner, they put Linux on the front burner for it. That's just interesting, the timing.
Well,
And
sure.
then, of
And
course,
that's what
there
I'm
were all
saying.
the conspiracy theories that that Microsoft's going to take over Linux and everything else is going to go, by the wayside.
That's nonsense,
I
crazy.
know it is, but I hate every time you read it or hear it. It's like I just want to scream.
Yeah, but in fairness, part of that is a real concern because everything that Microsoft gets their little grubby hands on, they trademark it.
Yeah.
To try
They
to
don't contribute all that money to the kernel, and don't have a say on what gets
They
that.
do. They have developers that work on the kernel.
Exactly.
They have for years.
Yeah.
They've been contributing to Linux for like 7 years at minimum.
Yeah.
And at one point during 2012, I think they had the most contributions to the kernel overall.
You don't think they buy anything with those contributions, those large contributions?
No, they can't because they don't have control. All they can do is submit code, and if the powers that be, like Greg KH or Linus, decide to keep it, then they do. But if they say it's crap, they don't keep it. So it doesn't matter. Like they can't get it past them because it has to be reviewed. So it's just like they're putting stuff into the Linux kernel that benefits Microsoft, like the support for Azure and stuff like that. Like it is beneficial to them, but it's also beneficial to the kernel because some of the stuff they do is decent.
So they have no more pull on anything than anybody else.
Right. I mean, they can't do anything about. They can't force the kernel team to do anything because the kernel team has absolute control no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So everything, the way the kernel structure is built is like there are developers that submit code, and then there's maintainers that control each branch, and then they review everything. Then they send it up to another tier. The next tier sends it up to Linus to finalize it, stuff like that. So like there's multiple levels where Microsoft is probably at the lowest level of submitting code.
Who knows? Maybe they'll push it far enough to where you'll see some of this third-party software that everybody likes so much start working with Linux. But I'm doubtful of that. But I mean, it'd be nice. But then that also means money's got to be involved too, which is scary.
Yeah, they probably
It
won't.
does sound strange, though. It's almost like an episode of the X-Files, Microsoft and Linux.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it
The
does.
old Microsoft with Bill Gates, they would never.
No. Well, what's his name? Called it a disease. Who was it? A bomber called Linux a disease, a cancer. It wasn't that long ago, like 10 years ago or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago. It wasn't until 2014 when Satya Nadella took over. When he took over, that's when they started buddying up to Linux stuff.
It is strange. First he says it's a cancer, then it's like, yeah, I'll make you an offer for your
Oh, yeah,
cancer
you-
juice. Come here.
Now
Yeah,
they're-
yeah, so.
Well, I mean, the guy who said it was a cancer has nothing to do with the company anymore. So that's the
That's
only
true.
reason it happened.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right. Yeah, they threw him out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They're like they can make
he's now
money.
controlling the Clippers, so that's fun.
Oh, the LA Clippers. Yeah.
Yeah, he owns them,
Oh, that's good for him.
and it's hilarious because you ever see him do the developers stuff when he's get really pumped. Just watch one game where he's at a home game and he gets pumped.
Really?
It is hilarious. He'll run up
Okay.
and down the court and stuff.
Oh,
Great.
does he have his Linux tablet on him when he watches? No, never mind.
Women ball
No,
No, he's using his iPad.
he's got his Microsoft Hearts Linux shirt on, or he's probably got the Bionic Beaver by now.
Yes, I'm sure he does. Yeah,
The Bionic Beaver. Love that name.
it's wonderful. Barb's like, eh.
Well, it's hard enough trying to explain Linux and get people over to it. Then you got to turn around and explain the embarrassing names they give stuff. It's
No,
Well,
he's
that's
just
the worst one, I think, so far.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no.
that's
The
the only
worst,
bad one they've ever had.
the worst one was Fedora about 5
The
years ago.
Beefy Miracle.
Beefy Miracle.
No.
Oh,
I missed the Fedora naming competition because a lot of people looked at it like it was just Fedora picking random stuff. And to be fair, that one does appear to be completely random. But they actually had a naming scheme that they used for people to submit names based on the previous names of other things. So, like the Schrodinger's cat was a good one.
Yeah, I
see,
like
that's
that
cool. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I wish they had done, something off of the name, like some kind of meme where they made it where some kind of is it released, is it not released? Well, I don't know. But like overall, it's kind of sad. Like I think it was like 20 or 21 when they abandoned it. But the Bionic Beaver was the only one that's weird, and it's not. I mean, it's the only one that's mockable.
Poor Barb.
Quantal Quetzal. That's
But
weird.
that's at least
That's weird too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, but it's not mockable. Like I think
Yeah,
the
I
Beaver
mean,
one
this
is
is
weird, yeah.
bad. Who was it who posted? There was that little animated GIF with where Leslie Nielsen is standing there with the comment on. It was somebody posted
I don't remember.
about the beaver.
Well, it's more. It's. I don't think that's really a big deal. Mainly because Canonical doesn't ever use the term. Like it is just for development. So you go to Launchpad and it's Bionic is the name of the branch, but they don't ever use it anywhere in their marketing. They have a beaver logo, like a little design, and they have a T-shirt that has it on there. That's it. Like you're never gonna see. You don't even see the code name on the website when they show the animal character, like the caricature, this weird design they made. It's like an abstract beaver thing, but you never see the name of it. It's just here's some
the
random
ones
beaver.
where
So
they
people
had
who
the
don't know,
origami-shaped critters.
right? But people who don't know are never gonna, see that. They're just gonna see like, okay, some weird animal thing, whatever. So like
I
they
don't know.
They use it in a weird way, but they don't use it in a way that screws up the marketing.
Perhaps Bionic Baboon would have been better. I don't know. See?
The battling baboon.
Battling Baboon, yeah.
They should have just
I
picked
like
a weird
that.
animal, just like the same way they do all the other ones.
Yeah.
Like artful aardvark.
Yeah, I mean
At least it's cute sounding,
Yeah.
well, there's all of them have had good ones except for this one. Like even what was it? Something Badger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like
Breezy Badger.
Breezy.
Yeah, Breezy Badger. It was the-
Yeah.
one of the first ones. They should just pick an like they always do. Take that letter and pick the weirdest animal they can think of and that has some kind of cuteness, and then pick it. Although I'm still mad at them for not picking quokkas because those are amazing. Amazing.
What are they?
They're literal adorable furball things in Australia.
Oh.
They are adorable. They're always friendly. You can come up and hug them and stuff. Like
Kind of like Tribbles on Star Trek.
Yeah,
Remember
I
that
just-
episode?
Yeah, the Tribbles. Yeah, I
Oh
forgot
yeah,
Tribbles.
here it is.
The Trouble with
happiest
Tribble.
Animal in the world.
yeah, and they
There's
also
a
they take really good selfies.
Oh, they're cute.
I could have called it Flop Linux.
Cute.
It's so wasteful that they skipped it. It's like, Quack is the
No,
best.
The one that was wasteful is when on P they didn't choose a penguin.
They should have.
I think that was
Yeah,
because they knew that people were going to expect them to, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
So what did they choose?
Pangolin. Precise
That's
pangolin.
right. It's an anteater.
Yeah.
Which, in a way, pangolins are also cute in a weird, scaly way.
Yeah, well,
Sure.
It's an anteater.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
an anteater with scales.
What?
Penguin would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty penguin or pompous penguin or petty penguin. I don't know.
So Ryan, I tried that what you asked about in Fedora, and I did not get that.
Really?
Yep.
So I tried installing the new Fedora beta, and in the middle of the install, once it was done installing, it asked you, like most packages, do you want to update the packages on here? But the option was update and restart. And so I clicked update and restart, and it restarted, but it restarted into a screen that just showed the logo for Fedora and then updating at the top. And, it was like a typical Windows 10 update session. And so I wanted everyone else to try it out because that was very, very weird.
I'm wondering if that was just updating the USB install rather than updating the system, because I installed it in VirtualBox and
Yeah. I installed it in VirtualBox too. I didn't have any kind of update screen on reboot.
no, it didn't even. What the funniest thing about it was when I installed it, it didn't even ask me to reboot. I installed it and it said, okay, it's installed on your system.
Yeah, that's what I thought was weird.
That's
the only
it.
option I had was restart and reboot. They were tied together. It wasn't like one or the other. And I thought, please don't be what I think this could be. And when I hit it, sure enough, it was like the Windows 10, man. It was just, but mine was a full install. It was not a VirtualBox install. So that could be the difference.
That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But I didn't get it anyway. Either way.
I'll try it on my hardware. See what happens.
And then I got that message that like when you go to install it, it's that like hilarious message of this really isn't for like main production machines. You shouldn't really try this. Go back now, kind of thing.
It was in beta still. Yeah,
it was hilarious. I was rolling as I'm reading it.
I mean, as Fedora goes, my
upfront
experience
about
with Fedora was very limited, but I was pretty impressed with a lot of the changes that they made.
It looks nice, but I never could get along with an RPM distro ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the RPMs are like they have their bonuses, but like most of the distros.
I had decent luck. I think PC Linux OS uses RPM, right, Michael?
Yeah.
I had decent luck with
in
that.
the weirdest way, but yes, continue.
Okay.
That's
Well,
not usually a distro people think. They think of SUSE and Fedora as RPM.
Well, I had it.
They use apt to install RPMs.
Right.
What?
Well, I don't know. All I know is I had it for a year and it worked. It was stable. In my older machine, I had one of their lightweight ones from back then. I think they had a Mate edition back then. I don't know if they still do, but that was okay. I was actually impressed. It was okay. You know.
But
Yeah, I mean,
my
it's
question is though,
not
what is the advantage to using Fedora over something like Ubuntu?
No, nothing.
The fact that there's silence means nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Just newer packages, I would guess.
What is it?
It's just newer packages, more like a rolling release.
Yeah, I think the rolling release would be the big one right there.
Freedom.
Freedom. Is that what you're? Freedom. Is that your final answer?
Well, I mean,
if you wear a fedora and you just want everything to kind of be
Right.
together, and you've got a Fedora
Distro.
operating system, you're good day, lady, my lady.
It's just a different set of bugs, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
it's kind of like Fedora's got. I don't know.
But I guess, like I said, just
that's what they've got. They've got
just that's my point. Like if I'm running Ubuntu, why would I switch to Fedora? Like what is the advantage that let's say, oh yeah, let's go to Fedora because
I mean, it's the most not really because Debian. Fedora is a free software focused distro, although they have binary blobs that makes them not, recognized or whatever.
Say 28 patch notes say otherwise.
Yeah, so there's the Debian is basically the kind of same thing where they both do the same sort of thing.
They both
So
have
you could
non-free repos, though. That's why the Free Software Foundation doesn't actually endorse either one of them.
No, Fedora doesn't have a free repo. I mean, a non-free
Yeah.
repo.
They
They
don't?
just have that binary blob thing.
Okay.
And the Debian does have the non-free thing.
Yeah, Debian.
All right,
does.
Michael.
So it's almost like it's sounding Fedora is irrelevant.
I Googled it. Why would I use? I Googled Rocco's question. Why would I use Fedora over Ubuntu?
Why
And
didn't you
one
DuckDuckGo?
Linux
Dark
user
page.
says the biggest difference is that Fedora continually ships new kernels during the release cycle, while Ubuntu tends to stick with a single kernel version, only patching for security and bug fixes.
But
So
why would
Michael-
anybody want a new kernel? Why would you want kernel updates?
So that's not necessarily true because there's the hardware enablement stack that Ubuntu does that you can get new kernels if you want to.
Unless you're buying new hardware that you need the latest kernel from, for stability reasons, I wouldn't want a new kernel every time it was released.
Yeah, usually when I would do something that was like be on a distro that would get the kernel updates, it would always crash on me or break on me or something.
Even on like the Arch-based distros, I stick with the LTS kernels. I don't want the one that just came out last night. I don't want that.
Are you sure, Derek? I don't know.
Yeah, but now, okay, example, we got what, 4.15, or was it 15 or 14?
4.16 is the current.
Yeah.
No,
4.16.
It came out with the meltdown inspector patches and stuff.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
that's
a-
4.15.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that would be a reason possibly, but then you're still risking to break something in the meantime with it.
Well, those patches were included all the way back to 4.4.
Whatever.
There was actually a 3 the thing had it too. Like one of the 3s had one.
Okay.
So like they had multiple packages, like multiple.
316, I think, might have had.
Yeah, and it was either I think it was like 316 and 318 had the meltdown. I'm not sure which one, but I think there was a 3. There might not have been. I might be just confusing the 413 and trying to, whatever. But there was about 7 versions of the kernel that had the meltdown patches put in. So you'd still get the update even if you had the old versions of whatever. So that example is not necessary. Like I think mainly it's just a hardware thing, like most of the time.
Okay.
But in the sense of Fedora, I want to like Fedora. It's just there are certain things that are kind of odd. Like it's very difficult to find packages. You have to install multiple different structures to get all the packages you want. And you're still not going to get everything. And then you have the fact that they release once a year, and as soon as one release is gone, they just start start deteriorating the rest of them. So there is no LTS.
They don't have a LTS is a problem.
Yeah, they don't offer LTS, and they're not rolling. Like they're in this weird hybrid middle.
So what you're saying, it's not for newbies, right?
Well, I mean, definitely not. But it's
they're in this weird place. It's not Debian stable, but it's not rolling like Arch and Gentoo. They're kind of in this no man's land where really nobody wants to be.
The Nether Zone.
Yeah.
That's the X-Files one. That's Fedora.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Fedora.
Yeah, Fedora
We're X-Files fans.
has
Yes.
potential. It's just like they do odd things that makes it not like suggestible.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're like
I tried it
coppers
in the
and really
past, and it
technology.
wasn't for me. Yeah, I
It
tried it
isn't
in the
open
past, but
that way, though,
yeah.
right? I mean,
Well, the new release is coming out soon. I may install it on my main machine, because that'll be time to wipe Manjaro off again. So.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Ryan, what are you running right now?
Kubuntu, man.
Still.
But I'm running the OpenBox with OpenBox integrated in to the KDE, which is really fun, man. It's really cool.
OpenBox is the best window manager. I'm glad you finally figured that out. I've been trying to tell you that.
Well, that's hardly the.
Okay, I got.
I would hardly say it's the best, but it is very cool that the integration that you can install OpenBox KDE directly into Plasma, and you get kind of all the benefits of having Kubuntu with some of the advantages.
You can even do some pseudo tiling with it. I'll email you a config.
I could see Michael's expression saying, "Forget about it."
Actually, dude, if you have a config file, because I've been playing with it just this weekend, and it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to my GitHub page. I've got something you could check out.
There is no way you could say that you get everything that's good about Plasma with OpenBox because one of the most important things about using Plasma is KWin.
KWin is nice.
No, Compton. Compton with OpenBox is so much better.
No, not even remotely. Like, it's like Compton's right here, Compton and OpenBox right here, and then KWin's like.
Do you guys want to do your own show maybe next week?
Well, I was going to say, Rocco, you got to be the guy that like when you're at the debates, where okay, you got 2 minutes, you got 2 minutes.
Let's go. All right, Derek.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about OpenBox and Compton?
Customizability.
You get to write your own menu editing. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
wait.
Actually,
all the
Michael, it's not your turn yet. Derek,
Can I just
you got
roll my eyes?
30 seconds. Go.
The custom menus, the dynamic menus, the you can add scripts to it. That thing, nobody else does that. All the key bindings, you can do tiling for those that want to do tiling, like DOS wants to do.
15 seconds left.
Mouse tiling and keyboard tiling.
On a cold start, if you're just running OpenBox, no desktop environment, 200 megs, you know.
Wow. Michael, you got 30 seconds on a rebuttal.
Okay, so you can do custom menus, you can edit to menus, you can do tiling, you can do keyboard tiling, you can do mouse tiling, you can do everything he just said.
Okay, that's 30 seconds.
No, I'm not done. There's way. I got one. And then there's window rules with massive awesomeness of window rules. You can customize everything in KWin. So
I have to agree.
Like everything you just said is available in KWin.
You guys don't tile.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you're talking about.
I do tile. What are you talking about?
If you go into KWin and sit there and try to set up the tiler, you will be there for 4 hours clicking the little GUI around to try to figure out how to get your every window. We're not talking about running 1 or 2 programs in a special window. We're talking 16 to 20 programs you want tiled across 4 different desktops.
Yeah, I do that.
Spend 6 hours clicking on it. I could do it in a script in 30 seconds.
Also, scripts work in KWin. There's specifically KWin.
You can do a lot in OpenBox. I mean, it's not a tiling window manager. It's not that powerful, but you can do an awful lot in OpenBox.
Yeah, and the same thing in KWin. You can do scripting of whatever you want.
How are you going to say I'm not a tiler? I'm in a tiling window manager right now.
No, I didn't say you. I meant Michael. Michael doesn't.
I am a tiler. Yes, I am. I'm tiling right now.
Let me share your screen right now. Let's see.
Yeah, let's share our screen.
Hey, I just wanted to let you guys know that there's this magic
little square boxes with his mouse.
Hey,
wait.
If I share my screen right now, you'll see I'm in Xmonad. You share yours, you're in KDE.
All right, am I going to have to mute everybody? Look, there's this cool thing about Zoom that it lets us all talk. But the uncoolest thing about Zoom is we can't understand everybody all at once.
Shall I terminate someone?
Just saying.
Terminate. I will terminate. No.
Nobody can understand if everybody's talking all at once. Ryan, you got 30 seconds.
No, I already did my part. It's Michael's turn. Michael needs to share his tiling screen that he's tiling right now. He's making little boxes.
Yeah, I'm reading the chat. I'm participating in the
shrinking every screen he has as quick as he can. And Tilex don't count. Don't pull up Tilex and then have like 4 terminals up.
I must say I've had many sleepless nights thinking about tiling. Yeah.
I use my workspace.
I don't know what to contribute, so
I have to say though that KWin Plasma is so customizable. I mean, you can do just about anything you want, including tiling.
Well, for Michael, it probably doesn't take longer because he's been in it forever. But for someone like me, it's easier for me to write a script to do it in OpenBox than it is to do it in KWin.
It depends if you can find all the settings too.
So if you're saying
that's why you have guys like tuxdigital.com and Big Daddy Linux,
right,
for their KDE settings videos.
Yeah, exactly. So when you talk about, I've been in it for so long and I have custom shortcuts for tiling and all this other stuff, I can show you if you want. I don't know if that's okay for the whole messing up the Zoom thing, but yes, I can show you, and I can show you how quickly I can move the tiles and all that stuff. And also, actually, I'm gonna go. Is it okay, Rocco?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool.
Hopefully we'll be able to build.
It's a tutorial.
Hopefully everybody will still be able to see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
So here's like my dolphin. So let's say I want to go here.
Does this have a porpoise?
So you got all that benefit, and then let's say this, this takes up too much space right now because of these decorations are there for no reason. Let's get rid of those. All good. And so, yeah, I can tile whatever I want. Thank you.
And I know you can do all of that stuff. That wasn't the argument. I think it's way more difficult. And I can have it auto start in various desktops. I don't have to.
I can have it start in the tiles how I want.
I know you can, but I think it's way more difficult to do it in KDE than it is to do it.
Because window rules, you set it to where you want it. You right click, create special customizations for the application. You're done. That's it. That's how it works. So it doesn't require you to write scripts, but you can still automatically have scripts running, and you can have it do whatever you want. But to be clear, now I do want to go back to one thing you did say. It's because I've been using it for so long. Yes, default Plasma is incredibly awful as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to navigate, whereas OpenBox is very. I guess because I've spent so much time in i3, the scripts there are more.
I'm confused. You said the default Plasmas. I've never
There
had
are no shortcuts. All the shortcuts I just showed you for the tiling.
Yeah.
Do not exist in Plasma. I made.
Okay.
The removing the decoration also doesn't exist. I made.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The feature, the functionality is there, but there is nothing that makes it work. You just have to. You have to know it's there to go into change it and then set it.
Okay.
So that's why the defaults of Plasma, as far as tiling goes, are awful.
Okay.
And also the defaults of Plasma in like pretty much most of the ways are terrible. Plasma is a fantastic foundation. Good job. Fix your defaults. They're terrible.
Okay.
And we went way over 30 seconds.
I just want to show you one more thing. This is really cool. There's this thing where in Plasma, when you first use it, you middle click on the thing and it adds a stupid notepad here, like a little sticky note. For some reason, if you have something copied to your clipboard, you can change it to be a menu like OpenBox.
But it's not an OpenBox menu. You can't do dynamic menus. You can't write a script and have that out.
Yes, you can. Because it connects to K menu edit, so you can do the same thing and put all the scripts in the K menu edit. Bam, there you go.
I can write a Python script and it'll output in that menu.
Yep.
Bam.
Okay. I did not know that. I'll have to check.
Mind blown.
But by the way,
it is also convoluted to make it do that.
Once you change that setting to make your right mouse button your menu, you will lose your configured desktop.
No, he said middle click.
Oh, you'd have to change the middle. I changed the right button, so I lost my configured desktop, which took me about 30 minutes to figure out. Up in the left-hand corner, there's a little button because you can't get to configure desktop options. Well, I couldn't find it through the standard menu. You have to use the configure. And that was one of the issues, as much as I love Ubuntu lately, is that the settings, there are so many areas for different settings that should all be combined into
Agreed.
An area.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Thank God for Ubuntu Mate. Jeez.
There is probably 6 different ways to get to each setting that's in KDE.
Or in some
so
cases,
here's another thing that everything. The only tip that actually can kind of still awful, but if you use KRunner, you can just launch KRunner and open any of the settings. So if you know what it's.
Oh, okay.
KRunner's nice. I have when
KRunner is the best.
I like it.
Yep.
Like it somewhat solves that one problem, but you also have to know that that's even possible. So.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem with KDE is the fact that there are so many good things that nobody knows about. And there's nothing that just says, hey, for a new user, there's no like, hey, here's a quick.
So is the documentation not that good?
No.
No, seriously, I've never read it. I'm not trying to be funny. I've never read it.
Here's an example. Here's an example of the KDE.
Page 1.
Episode 67.
There's a section on KDEs where you'll see these things in like they'll go in like tier levels of like here's a description of all these things in documentation. You click on it, there's literally nothing in it.
There's nothing in it.
It's just
absolutely nothing.
What it's supposed to be, and there's nothing there. And then there's sometimes there are super confusing things like go to KWin. Is it KWin or Quinn? I don't know. Go to the documentation and it says pronounced as one word.
Wow.
Both of those options are one word. What are you talking about? That's not helpful.
Confusion OS.
That's what I said. They need like a mini welcome tutorial to Plasma. To give a new user something to at least start them
what they
off
need to
to
do
say
is make the defaults not bad. Okay, they need to do both of them.
Yeah, but they need to do both because even if you change the defaults, nobody's going to know Krunner's there unless they know it's there.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like
When
these
you first
features
log
are
in
awesome.
the very first time and you've just installed it, it should go, "Hey, have you seen Krunner?"
Exactly. There should be some type of welcome screen or something to walk you through just the main principles of Plasma. Hey, this is how you get to the settings. Like, here's the 6 ways you can get to the settings. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Something.
KDE Connect is nice.
But their documentation is terrible. Sorry.
That's weird.
Yeah, I agree completely. There's KDE is one of those things where they make amazing work, but it's so confusing to see that work. You might not even know most of it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is like that kind of applies to like most projects. Most projects documentation is just awful.
Yeah.
So
except Mate. You
Except
should read their manual probably.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
Brian.
have really good. They really do have good documentation.
They do.
Mate's documentation is good. Ubuntu Mate's documentation is fantastic.
I would have to agree. Yeah.
It's like it's it's an example that puts everything else to shame.
It's again, there's something to be said for simple out of the box, including documentation, right? But yeah, it's
but it's funny is because I was talking to someone, I forgot when it was this happened, but I was talking to somebody how documentation is one of the most important things, but it's also one of the worst things that developers don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because it makes them like developers want to develop stuff. They want to make cool things. And documentation stops them from working on the things that they want to work on. So
Am I the only one
it's a
having
big chore.
background noise?
No, you're not the only one.
I just asked.
It sounds like a fan. being-
No, I think it was Tommy muted.
Yeah, I don't hear anything.
So is everyone on an 18.04 distro right now, Ubuntu base?
No.
Not me.
No, Derek is the
Tom, you're muted now, Tom.
I'm on Manjaro i3.
Nice.
I forgot I was muted. Yeah, I'm on. I have an Ubuntu budgie next to me that's 1804, but I'm working on Cinnamon.
My laptop is Kubuntu 1804. My desktop is still. I haven't updated it yet because I mean, to be fair, I haven't updated. It's on Neon right now, and I haven't updated Neon in like.
Are you going to put Kubuntu on?
Oh yeah, for sure. My approach to Kubuntu
doing
is
your GNOME challenge, man.
What's that?
Profitech 777's doing your GNOME challenge.
I know he made a video on it, and it was what, it was great. This video that he does, right, is he starts out by talking about GNOME, and he's not a big GNOME fan, okay, but he's looking at it and trying to be objective about it, and he's going through all these things of, hey, this pixel doesn't match here, this pixel doesn't match here. I was loving it. It was awesome, dude, because he's pointing out all the things that don't exactly match 100% with GNOME, and like I agreed with like the first three or four things that he said.
Brother, right there.
I'm telling you, it was awesome.
Rock on pixels. Yes.
But like he pointed out the fact that now it might have been just his, I'm not sure, but if you're on the default Ubuntu theme, that the side panel is not the same exact color as the top panel, even when you full screen it, and if you auto hide the left panel, then it is the exact same color. It's weird. It was like a weird bug. But what I'm saying is he went through this whole thing and like pointed out all these little things. And he also said that, which I happen to agree, that they could have easily combined the full screen launcher with the activities, so that it
Yes.
would all pop up with
Yeah.
at once. So you could have the activities pop
would
up
be
as, you know, where you don't have to go up to the left and down to the bottom to get to
where-
each one.
Yeah, that show applications button at the very bottom makes no sense. That's too much mouse travel. You're not doing anything in the bottom left-hand corner ever. So,
But you
Right.
can move that though.
That's the default location of where
Right.
GNOME.
Yeah.
But still,
Well-
I agree. Why have two actions when you don't need them?
Right.
Yeah.
You could easily combine those, and it would be great.
Well, I'm going to
So-
travel myself to bed, guys. So have a good night.
All right,
Thanks for
Catch you next
stopping,
time.
man.
See you. Okay, ciao.
Good night.
Bye.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
All right, Tom. Well, tell us.
I meant to tell him before he left. Oh well.
Always
Next
tell it.
time.
I'm gonna have to be. I'll be right back. I'm not telling you.
His,
Let me hit the door
his
again.
window tiling crashed.
K win. So
Like
stay.
K loss.
We were so wrong, Derek. Darn it.
Elvis said we should have a Linux fight night. Tux versus DW. EB versus DTME.
Oh wait, I got the perfect thing for y'all. Here we go. Can y'all hear that? Is that coming through?
Are we supposed to start rapping?
Oh yeah.
There we go. We'll get this down DOS Geek style.
Yeah, man.
Hold on, I got one more thing on that. Yeah, now I can be a hype man this evening.
Wow.
Nice.
Did you restart Plasma?
Battle, rap battle of the century.
You've got all that new audio equipment, don't you? You got the new mixer board and everything.
I found a copy of Bitwig 8 track. It's what bundles Bitwig bundles software like Lite Ableton or Pro Tools Lite. You can't buy those licenses. It's only with hardware, but you can resell them and transfer them to different accounts. So I found a guy on a forum. He's like $20. It's yours. So I got it now.
That's
And it's
awesome.
actually running everything. I completely replaced non-mixer to the dismay of some of my open source fans that are, yeah,
So
they
Rocco,
like.
you dared to try Jack yet?
No. There's no way that I can try it on the main machine, dude. Because if I mess up the audio, the podcast is done. I'm gonna have to reformat.
You need to play with it on like your laptop because you
Yeah.
can just do it for headphones or whatever. And that script I have up there will actually do all the install for you.
What are you on right now, Rocco? Are you still on
Ubuntu.
a what?
Ubuntu 1804.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab it and then I'm gonna play with it and I'm gonna find out if it does all the stupid things that 1710 did to me. And if
Yeah,
it
because
doesn't, it'll be
that-
easy for you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to like just chance it and then have to reinstall everything just because I want to. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But
So
yeah,
you
you're
say.
right. Knowing your luck, you're right. Never mind.
You know me.
I was
You
talking to
know-
the wrong person.
Yeah.
You installed Jack and format your whole hard drive.
Yeah.
The last thing any of us want to do is start streaming and realize stuff ain't working right because we would never do that.
Right? We would never reformat before a big podcast or anything.
Yeah, Derek, but you're good at just
realize
rolling with it even when it does do that. Though.
That's
Yeah,
why I leave
well-
my production machine alone.
Yep.
That's the smart
I
way to
agree,
do it.
Tom. I
That
agree.
is actually why I haven't updated Neon in like a couple months because it's my production machine and it works so well. Well, until it just crashed right there. But that's not important.
So let me
So-
ask you, Michael, did Neon fix the issue that Ubuntu fixed with the NVIDIA graphic text issue?
No.
All of that?
No,
What
because
did
all
Ubuntu
that
do?
was done in the in the 1804 base.
Okay.
So like the Neon won't be able to do it until they rebase.
Because
But
that,
that
was the
should be
greatest.
soon, right?
I don't know how soon that would be. I know it won't be months, but it might be a month.
Well, that's relatively soon.
Yeah, man. I mean, in terms of like computing, that's like a decade.
in computing years.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it could be fine. I mean, they haven't really. The reason why they haven't given any ETA whatsoever, so it might be soon. It might not be.
Hey, 5G COFI Jaja Raza 6 cents Tukuyu's joined.
Prophetic, what's going on, man?
That is
That's a
obviously
name.
the accurate name for sure.
That's the name. Oh, I forgot about Twitch.
I hope it's not his password.
Nah, that's pathetic.
That's a good password, though, man. Nobody's gonna guess that.
No, that's
What's
very
happening, brother?
Yeah.
Well, it was a good password.
So go ahead. We'll give you the floor. Tell us about that video you made.
Sure. So, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, basically, I don't want to be those typical haters on GNOME or whatever you're like, criticizing,
Ryan.
not actually try it.
That'd be a good thing. Yeah.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. Sorry, I'm with you, Ryan. But yeah, so I decided to actually take up Rocco on the challenge begrudgingly, but I decided to do it, and it's only for a week. But just initially, within the first couple hours, I just felt compelled to do a video on these things because these are things that always had me scratching my head. And even when back in the 1304, 1404 days, and it's still things that kind of, irk at me. So I just felt like, let me get out my system now as I continue the challenge so I can actually get past it somehow. And so it's more therapeutic for me to get through the challenge than anything else. And I figured I'd share it on with the rest of the group.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, like I said, I have to agree with a lot of the conclusions you had on the theming part of it, because now, although most of what you were talking about were defaults, which can be changed, there are some inconsistencies and issues in the theming. So yeah, I have to agree with a lot of it. So
yeah, and a lot of the things with default is I think sometimes we forget the power of default. When it's default, so even with the great debate that we had earlier about Compton and the Kwin, all that stuff like that, if you put something as default, there is definitely an advantage to that, because we know that especially when you're coming with new users, they're not most people might not change that, at least not right away, until they feel more comfortable. So I feel like there's power behind making it default. So I do land on, I'm a little tougher on default settings than the average person, but yeah, that's something that I could have included in the video.
I love that it's called the Great Debate. Can someone write a Wikipedia article?
I don't think there was no debate there. It was more like the Great Screaming Match.
The brawl for all.
We all agree that Kwin is the best, and it's done.
Did we?
No, we didn't. I didn't say a word. I wasn't even involved.
Do we need to get the rap track back out?
Oh my god,
Michael, you do a response video about how Kwin's better.
I like OpenBox. I'm just giving Derek a hard time. So I do like OpenBox, and I think OpenBox it has potential. It's just so easy to make a joke about how you have to customize a menu for no reason. They even have a tool.
There are tools. I mean, there are tools that will automate making a menu.
It's just the fact that it's not built in. It's not provided as part of OpenBox. It's just so weird. That by itself would make OpenBox just so much more usable.
Bingo.
Yeah, but that's why OpenBox is minimal. I mean, it's one package. I mean, when you do an OpenBox install, there's no dependencies or anything. It's basically one package.
Yeah, OB menu is a dependency of on OpenBox. So it needs OpenBox to exist. So why not just bring them both in? It adds maybe 20 kilobytes. Who cares?
Yeah.
Rocco, I just want to be the first one to apologize to letting us go back to the Great Debate again. Sorry.
Thanks.
No. This was the great. We enjoy OpenBox discussion.
You know what? Only one of us here though is hypocritical about the window managers we use. There's one guy that calls himself the i3 King, and all his I've watched his videos. I've been watching your channel, Das. You're running KDE in every video.
Shots fired.
I don't see any i3. Where's all the i3 you're talking about?
Well, first of all,
thank you for watching. Screen share.
First of all, thanks for watching.
Number two is there is lots of i3 content on there, but yes, I've been on KDE, so all of my latest videos would be KDE right now, because that's what I've been
So
running.
what happened to i3?
The right answer is so I
It's
can
a
understand
window
why I like it better.
Well, if you're doing a video to explain, most of the people on my channel are new Linux users. And if you do a bunch of videos all in i3, which I have i3 installed, I mean, you could log in to i3. I install it on every distro I hop to. But it doesn't really help you when you're saying, hey, check out this new distro. I'm going to show you the i3 desktop instead of showing you Ubuntu 17.
I agree with that. I hate it when people do reviews for distros and they're like, "Hey, look, check out all the things I changed that you don't have."
Exactly. So you've got to kind of do vanilla video on the actual desktop. You know.
Yeah, but
like,
you know what?
No, but I use i3, so I'm not going to show you GNOME. Here's me tiling.
But here's the other side to that.
Your rap video was showing KDE. Was that for whose benefit? You couldn't do i3 on the rap video?
Oh. God.
It was for the humor.
Wow.
He's so offended by the rap video.
I'm not gonna let this go.
It's okay to lose sometimes. It's okay.
Carl Schneider in the house.
Carl.
What's up, Carl?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Carl. Awesome.
Good.
Pretty good. So, earlier I told y'all about the whole. In my Telegram, my Creator Studio did not update my video, so I didn't have a link to any of the content that I posted on my stream today. One of my patrons was like, saw me complaining, is like, "Hey, I got a link for you." I'm like, wait, what? How do you have a link and I don't have a link? Turns out he totally did have a link, and I got my videos. My stream's not.
Yay!
No. Yeah, I'm not depressed anymore.
touchdigital.com/screwup.
No.
Whoa.
Save.
What is everybody drinking tonight, man?
Everybody's hostile tonight, dude.
Screw up nothing.
Well, touchdigital.com/Patreon.
Over here in the corner, man.
I made a mistake.
It was all good. It was all good till that K-Win discussion. Then it got heated.
So back to GNOME, though, the challenge. Did you find that you started in the 30-day challenge, Rocco had, to appreciate GNOME more than you thought you would?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
So I was kicking the tires on the idea of like doing that, but it wasn't until my job, the institution I work for, they don't allow for anything but like Ubuntu proper, and I was using elementary. So I was like, this has to be the sign that I have to eventually get around to testing this thing, because it was on my list, but I wasn't going to go out of my way to do it. So that's really the only thing that got me to pull the trigger.
So here's the idea of the GNOME challenge, okay? When you talk about, say, KDE desktop, you mention KDE, and what goes through your mind when you mention KDE?
Glorious.
But most people be like, maybe. You know. But if somebody mentions GNOME in this room, like half the people in it will be like, ew, GNOME.
Violent.
And why should it be that way? You know what I mean? Like, yes, GNOME may not be for you, you may not like it, but it's almost like the knee-jerk reaction of everybody to say ew.
Can I answer that?
It's kind of a powerful plasmaganda.
So I think it's just the typical or stereotypical thing of like death by 1,000 paper cuts, where it's like after so many decisions and that people kind of like harp on, it just kind of has a snowball effect. And then coupled with the memory leak, which wasn't really a memory leak, but that's what it's been coined as. Coupled with that, it just becomes that much easier. And so I think it's just the momentum of like making these like controversial decisions. And then it's one thing to like make these controversial decisions and it'll be stable or more easier to use, but they're making these decisions and it's like they're taking away things that are still like part of the desktop experience, like the core desktop experience, like the notification piece of being a classic example. That's my theory. It's like it's just death by 1,000 paper cuts and then some hiccups with the technical aspects of the GNOME desktop.
Mm-hmm. Like there's no more print test page button for when you install a printer.
The one that blew
Why
my
would
mind,
you need to test your printer, Tom? I mean,
who uses printer these days?
Actually, that might be my favorite feature because I'm so sick of it wasting the ridiculously costing ink on a print test.
Well, you don't have to press the button, you know.
It's too much like a mobile phone.
But trying to do diagnostics, the thing also prints out drivers. I mean, the print test page does print useful information for those that know what you're looking for.
Right. Yeah, but I think, like I said, with that whole idea, GNOME gets this bad rap, and it may be from 1,000 paper cuts, but it gets this bad rap, and I think it's a good desktop to use, and I think it has a really, really good workflow that a lot of people that are saying, ooh, would actually find things that they would like about it. Now, they may not want to stick with it. They may not fall in love with it, but it wouldn't be
how
that.
many extensions? How
It
many
wouldn't.
do you need?
At least
That's the
4.
problem.
At
At
least
least
4.
6, probably. Yeah, I mean,
But
Well,
what
I
I
mean,
was
that's
saying,
what
yeah,
I
but
found.
the idea is they're still
What I
there.
Is that eventually I found things I liked about it. It wasn't my distro that I was gonna, or my desktop that I was gonna stick with, but there were a lot of things that I came to appreciate, about it. But I remember when I first started my channel doing the Linux piece, and there were so many people who were like, "Oh, don't use Ubuntu. Ubuntu's the worst. Ubuntu's got as many privacy issues as Windows. Ubuntu is, they're commercialized. All these different things and I was brand new to Linux, so I was listening to this and I was like, my gosh, what do I try then? And they're like, Arch. So I finally went to Arch, and Arch was great, but I went into Arch like super fast, and that's where I met Jonas actually, because he was like, dude, you're jumping into Arch already. You gotta slow down a little bit. But he helped me through some of that. But, so that's why I thought I had to get off Ubuntu. And then later, as I met you guys, I realized all of that stuff was just
nonsense.
Nonsense.
yeah, you got to be careful around the Arch fanboys. They'll get, just ignore them.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
so
as far as like that particular one, that like even if it wasn't Arch people, they're like there's so many subsets that love to hate Unity and Ubuntu.
Yeah. But I think that's why I like Rocco's challenge, because while I don't think it's going to convert people and go, oh my gosh, I'm going to use GNOME now forever. And there may be some that do, but what it does is forces you to kind of figure out an appreciation for something you otherwise wouldn't. You would just listen to the noise and be like, well, I'll never try that because, everybody else says it's dumb, because I could have used it as a main desktop. There was nothing.
Me too.
There were annoyances.
Yeah.
There are annoyances, but there was nothing that would keep me from not being able to complete my work with it.
I used GNOME for years as my main desktop, even GNOME 3. Like, it was my preferences for like years, and it was only the only like basically what Rocco is giving as a challenge to other people to try GNOME. Someone gave me a challenge, the exact same thing, to use Plasma, and then I took all the things I liked about GNOME and put on Plasma.
Same here.
So I have the best of both worlds for me. So
Right.
that like there's a lot of things about GNOME that are fantastic, and it's just, I guess the only thing that's really the reason why they get that mockability is that they make these decisions and their responses are like, because we wanna. I mean, it's like,
right.
That's pretty much the only reason. It's just because it becomes like a meme.
And there's a lot of things that I can't defend them on either. There are a lot of decisions that, even I scratch my head with why'd you do that? But
yeah,
it's still the idea that there's certain aspects that can be appreciated about it that everybody can appreciate.
We were talking about that this week about
polished version too.
People getting so violently angry over open source stuff. Like you would literally think, they're dealing with something that's life impacting. And we had a comment. I don't remember what it was now.
It was about GNOME.
It was about GNOME, but it was like, oh my gosh, dude, just go to a different desktop and move on with your life.
Well, it's the same thing. Remember the whole thing with Ubuntu with Unity. Oh my God!
Oh,
you
don't get me
think
started.
that the world had ended, was ready to end just because somebody said
These
they
people
liked
act
it.
like there's
How
not a
about that
thousand
today?
voices.
And people didn't try Unity either, and Unity is fantastic, and there's so many things that were great. The
But as
HUD
soon
was
as Unity
amazing.
went away, all I heard was, "Oh man, I want Unity! Somebody recreate Unity!" And
Yeah, exactly.
but it was out, everyone just bashed it.
But I'll go back to that for me, where Unity was one of those things that where I would bash, and I had never really gave it a chance. It wasn't until right before it was going to go that I actually gave it a chance, and then I said, wow, this is actually pretty nice.
They just finally got the theming right, and then they
No, their theming was right in 2012. That's because it hasn't changed since then, and that's why.
Yes, but
there
like,
you go, bashing Unity again.
Like Prophetic, when you said about
I'm just saying, it's
when you
old.
said about the full screen launcher and it not, or the side panel not, going up to the other panel and like cohesively going into it. Unity did that perfectly.
Yeah,
I mean, it was beautiful the way they integrated the actual menu with the panel.
And they innovated the app indicator structure. So like they had and there was always these old applet styles, and the app indicators solved it entirely. So like no matter what application you had, the system tray was perfectly accepted with it. It was like, as far as integration, Unity had the best.
Unity to me was like, to Linux, was like Windows 8 was to Microsoft, and I still don't like Windows 8. But if you remember right, when that came out, you heard nothing but griping and complaining and moaning and everything. Then when Windows 10 came out, even though it's a very nice operating system for what it is, but because of the privacy thing, you don't hear a peep about Windows 8 anymore. It's kind of the same thing, or some people wish they had it back again. You know,
I mean, to be fair, Windows 8 UI was awful.
It was.
Unity's is not awful. It's just kind of like the.
But no, I'm comparing the complaining. I'm talking about the complaining,
Well,
because you know, like Unity went away, and then now all of a sudden, you know, everybody's okay with it. Who hated it
totally
the
agree.
time it was out.
Well, I think what happens is people don't like change. So all of a sudden they make a change, and so everyone's got to gripe about it because they don't want to deal with it.
Well, Unity, in fairness, was a pretty big. I mean, for all intents and purposes, change the way it looked and felt.
I like Unity. And I'm not.
That's why I don't. That's why the change of Unity is annoying, as people getting bothered by it, is because it wasn't their decision. It was GNOME's decision of we're going to kill GNOME 2. You don't have a choice.
It's a difference if I uninstall Unity and install GNOME, but don't do it for me. You know.
Well, no, because GNOME they can't ship an LTS of a distro that is, or a DE that is dead, because GNOME just killed 2 and they had no intention of maintaining it. So they're switching to 3, and that's it. That's what they said. So they had no choice. They're not going to maintain a dead DE, because why would that means they would be trying to keep something that they have no control over and they can't change and have any innovation whatsoever. So they're like, do we go with GNOME 3 or do we go with KDE? How about we just make our own? And that's pretty much the only option they had.
I think there was like an ambitiousness of Mark Shuttleworth where, and this gets lost on people because we're so desktop oriented. He was also simultaneously trying to launch like a phone around the same time. Yeah. And I was very forgiving because it took guts, we'll call it guts, to do something like that around that time. When someone said it would be impossible, he actually did it. And so when I saw the unification of that same UI, I was like, oh, okay, I see where he was going. It was a true north. He was probably terrible at connecting those dots, but I was very forgiving of Unity for that reason. And plus, he pushed it out a little too soon also, which he later learned the hard way. So those two things really gave Unity a really bad, really hard start from that standpoint too. Yeah. Yeah.
But also the first 2 versions of the first
of anything really. Yeah.
And so like then they fixed it and it was fantastic. But like Unity's 12.04 version was fantastic. So like that
was the first good one.
Yeah, it's weird that like it had such a rocky start, but it only bothers me that Canonical and Ubuntu get like hate for doing it, even though they did it because they didn't have a choice, and they still get hate because people just ignore that part or don't even bother to look into it. So it's just that part bothers me because it's like it's easy to hate on the people who do the change, the most obvious change, because they have the biggest spotlight.
Well, there was a lot of people do take this whole window manager desktop environment thing too seriously. They turn into fanboys. Das mentioned a lot of people really defend GNOME. A lot of people really hate GNOME. I had somebody email me the other day a piece of hate email where asking me why I hate i3 so much because some guy made a rap video insinuating that I hated i3. This guy wrote me a novel about why i3.
Did he really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I've never even tried i3. What are you talking? I don't hate i3. I don't even know anything about i3.
I'm surprised I didn't get the same for the Awesome or the Xmonad, which I've tried all of them recently, by the way. Not except Xmonad. I'm saving that for last, but I did do Awesome, which was interesting. But I think you'll like i3 more than that one, at least. I haven't tried Xmonad, so I can't really say.
Yeah, there's some things about Awesome I don't like. Yeah.
I mean, basically, it just boils down to if you don't like that desktop environment, you got a whole bunch of others. Go move on.
Yeah. If you don't like that desktop environment, get the torch and then set it on fire You just yell at people with it.
Derek, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he really wanted to know why I hated i3. Like he took it personal. He had to have an explanation. And I'm like, why are you writing me this? Even if I do hate it.
Oh my god!
It's like my grandma loved i3.
Like he
I
demanded.
must have wrote 100 times in the comments in the description. This is a joke, people. Do not take this seriously. Go to his channel.
Yeah, that week I was giving out an email address on my channel so people could email me about something totally not related to that. So this guy got my email address, right? So now he's emailing me all the time.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That is unfortunate.
Oh no. Oh no.
But one quick thing about the Unity thing is just like the Linux community is known for innovation and pushing the envelope. And when Unity was doing this thing, they got so much pushback on it. And that's another thing. That's why when people complain about it now, I get really like if Mike gets upset about it, I get PO'd about it. And because it's like we're the people. This is the community where we're kind of like we have the guts to really push things and experiment and go that direction of innovation.
How dare someone take
exactly to actually like put money and resources behind the idea and not just talk about
actually
it.
Believe in themselves and to do something with it.
Oh my goodness! So I wasn't even mad at GNOME either. You know, I think if you had to start like a desktop environment from scratch without any like Windows paradigm as a foundation, I think GNOME would be a great start. I just think I think people who bash on GNOME, going back to Rocco's question, and I think the final point is that for the extended period of time in the 3.0 series, now we're at 3.30. It's like people have had this hope of GNOME being a potential of X, Y, and Z, of being a super modular type thing. And it's just kind of fell short of that. And so after so many period of time, you're just falling short of your full potential. I think people just kind of want to, it's easier for them to be negative and make fun.
Part of that too, I think, is because they're taking away what is considered to be basic features. Instead of building and adding things into it, they're taking things away that you shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much neutered their file manager.
What's that?
They neutered their file manager. They just kept taking things and things away from Nautilus to the point where you got to install a different file manager. Really.
Well, all you really got to do is look at it, right? You don't have to use it.
That is the biggest reason I can't stand GNOME is Nautilus.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a situation where we have to look at it in the approach of appliance approach. So like Pantheon, for example, is use it how it is. Yeah, don't mess with it. This is just what it is. If you like it, cool. Otherwise, go away. That kind of thing.
But Mike,
so let me as the GNOME approach too. Like this is how we want to do it. If you want to slightly tweak, you have more options to tweak. But if you want to completely change the paradigm, there's other options, kind of thing.
Yep. It's like the same with elementary. They have somewhere where they're looking to go, how they're looking to do it, and you either follow along or you go with something else.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fair thing that I don't necessarily agree with the things they're doing, but that's also why I don't use it. So if there are people who do like what they're doing, then cool, enjoy.
The thing that got me excited about GNOME though when it first came out was the whole extensions thing, and so I will be able to forgive GNOME and even probably even use GNOME if they put the developers and their extensions as a first-class citizen instead of like a passive thing. Now, what I love about elementary, despite some videos like crushing it in some respects, which were hilarious to me, is that they're at least putting their developers or even the App Center making an ecosystem like a first-class citizen in their desktop environment. So that I can see that's going to benefit me. So yeah, it might limit me here, but I'm gonna actually look at the App Store and I'm seeing these apps that I can't find anywhere else. And it's like beautiful apps.
Mm-hmm.
There's some apps that they contact specifically the developers to help them make it better for elementary.
So there's that trade-off where, and at least at elementary, like I get something in return for the limitations over here. I'm curious at what you guys think about. Should GNOME be thinking about GNOME 4? Should they just kind of blow it all up and start from scratch?
because GNOME 3 is not working. You mentioned how great the extensions are. I would agree, except every new release, all the extensions are broken. Yeah.
Yes, but I think that if they did a GNOME 4, they would kill their base because they've already blew it up once.
They don't have a base. I mean,
yeah, but I think they
have
do.
a base.
I think they do have a base, and I think that would really hurt them, just because it would bring people to be unsure, completely unsure. There's a lot of people that when you went from GNOME 2 to GNOME 3, half of them were unsure, but half of them stayed. If you do it again, you're gonna kill them.
I have good news and bad news.
Which means bad news and bad news.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Bad news and worse news.
Anyway, well, maybe, but it depends on your perspective. So the bad news is they are doing GNOME 4. It is going to break everything you're worried about it being broken. They've already said that a lot of APIs are being destroyed. One particular API is being destroyed. That System Tray, the top icons plus extension that you currently have and can use, and it does work, will not work. It will break, guaranteed. That is happening. GTK 4 breaks everything. GNOME 4 breaks everything. However, they're not doing like they did last time where GNOME 2 was completely deprecated and you had just 3. They're continuing the development of 3 as an LTS structure. So most distros would just keep 3 even while 4 is being developed. So the distros are not going to transition to 4 until it's ready to not destroy things.
I guess the other question is what is their release date, if you want to call it that, for 4?
They don't have one.
Okay. It's so early. So it's not something.
It's probably sometime next year, though.
Okay.
But it won't. Even when they do make it, it's not going to be used.
Yeah.
It'll be barely usable, and Fedora will be the first one to ship.
Yes.
So we just found a new benefit for using Fedora, guys.
There you go.
We just shipped a kernel that's going to break everything, and now we're going to give you a desktop that breaks everything.
Scrap, aren't you being a little negative here?
Stay positive, bro.
Realistic.
I mean, it's.
I'm positive that's what's going to happen.
They're going to rebuild it.
What I've learned about this show is everyone's had a bad week.
You're right. Probably all a little tired.
Yeah, I'm really tired, but I had a good week.
Yeah, I had a good week too.
I actually had I stayed up all night making a Ubuntu release video, and it took me a long time to finish it. And what's so annoying is that I stayed up all night because Ubuntu was like, we're going to release it at 8 a.m. UK time. They released it at midnight UK time. I could have slept.
You went to bed knowing it was done.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's still not good enough.
All right, fine.
And think about this. Now we get through this Ubuntu week. In a couple weeks, we're all going to be on Fedora. So the new Fedora.
Just next week's Fedora 28 coming.
Dude, I cannot wait until Elementary Juno comes out.
Seriously.
I'm pretty stoked about that one, too.
Seriously.
Oh boy.
I seriously, if that doesn't come out and just be a complete flop, I'm going to be on it. I mean, because it's going to be hard pressed to keep me off of it.
He'll be on it the whole year. In fact, he promised.
Stop it.
Everybody be prepared to have your YouTube bell ringing off the hook.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Just saying.
I do like Elementary. The only complaint I have Elementary is the base is slow to pick up, and that's like all the LTS based distros have that problem.
Yeah.
That is why I am so much of a fan of snaps, flatpaks, and app images, just because that would not be they would be completely irrelevant at that point, and who cares? So I hope they just finish those quickly.
You know, I've had an issue with, and I'm not sure which one it was, but when I rebuilt this operating system, when I rebuilt this computer, and of course, if you, Linux Mint, of course, still ships with an old version of Kdenlive, which doesn't really work, and so I always use the PPA or whatever the direct to get the most recent. Well, they don't even publish that anymore. They're like, well, use the app image. Well, the problem is when you use the app image, I can't import my configuration folder. It would not work. And so all of the customizations I've done are gone.
Because it's an older version.
No. It's the same thing, because if I take the current release PPA, which I still had because it's on my other computer still, drop it in, get the same exact version. I confirm same exact version, drop it in, it works.
Wow.
So there's something wrong with that, at least in the context of my system. I kind of meant to do some more research on that and figure out if that's exactly the case or I screwed something up. But
it could be a dependency thing, because they are very. The app images tend to use the same kind of like the home folder structure, but they might not always. It depends on that. Like the only problem with app images is that developers can make them differently. It's like some of them have update mechanisms, some don't, some have.
Well, are they storing their configuration files in different places?
Some do.
Must be.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. So maybe it's just a matter of tracking down where that is, doing a little bit of research.
I don't know if Kdenlive does it or not, but like there are possibilities that they could. So like that's one of the problems with app images. Like app image itself, like the structure is fantastic, but it relies on the developer to implement all the features.
Tom, did you try to import one of your old working files, or is that where it was going wrong? Or?
No. I mean, not on my Linux channel, but on my other two channels, I have an excessive amount of custom effects already programmed, because I do fade ins, fade outs, and all sorts of stuff that are all meticulously timed, and all of those are stored in, I think it's an XML file. And just import that XML file into your new install build, and it works perfect. Well, those were not. I was not able to import those. So there were a few different things I wouldn't import. Mostly those is what I remember. It's like I cannot go back and rebuild those. So, I just ended up going in and putting the PPAs on, and got the same version, but it works now. So
right.
I have to test that, because I have some customizations that I need to make sure that they work when I
I'd be curious if
that would be bad.
I'd be very curious if what your take is on that, and maybe I put things in the wrong place, or whatever else. I was pretty sure I didn't, but.
Yeah, I typically just use the PPA as well, but I haven't. I've tried the beta version of the app image, so and it's for a beta, it's fantastic. But I need to try the other one too.
Yeah, an application that I don't really care if files are ported, I'd say no problem with it at all. It's just Live is kind of core of what I do.
Why are you guys installing the app image? Do you need a newer release? Is that
in Linux Mint? Well, if you go to Kdenlive's website. And you want the most recent one, it tells you, instead of giving you the PPAs, which it used to do up to like 6 months ago, it tells you to use the app image instead.
Okay.
But they still exist. They're still around. You just got to hunt them down.
Yeah, and they still update them. And also, I'm pretty sure like Ubuntu maintains a newer packages too for PPAs. So like there's a...
So if I run into a big problem, I can just, probably throw... KDE on this or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
figure it out.
that's like one of the weirder problems about when they're using these universal app image formats, or and not app image, but the universal formats. Like they all have like these different quirks. You got to figure out which one that like works best for you for whichever application.
Mike, is that why snaps tend to be like advantageous, aside from its access to like systemd and stuff? Is that they have a little more structure, so it's a little more streamlined or system type?
Yeah, that's one of them. That's one of the benefits of it. Flatpak has a streamlined structure as well, but they all have benefits and they all have cons, and some of them kind of overlap a little bit. Like Flatpaks and Snap, a lot of their benefits overlap.
Yeah,
but their cons are fairly big in the sense that Flatpak doesn't have a centralized location for anything. And if you want to install something that's not a part of FlatHub, you have to know where the remote is.
Right.
And even if it is a part of FlatHub, you have to use a distro that supports FlatHub by default, or you then have to know that exists. So
Yikes.
Like Snap has a more ease of use approach. So if there's a snap, you just run the snap install and that's it.
Yeah. Sudo snap install GIMP, and that's all you got to do. You don't have to worry about where it's hosted or anything.
I love my snaps. Yeah.
You don't even have to run the sudo because it'll pop up the password.
Well, yeah, it's going to ask you for your password. Yeah.
So like there's so many things that make Snap good. There's also some weirdness, like the theming snaps are annoying.
Snaps are nice on the server.
Yeah, snaps also have really good server support, and the IoT approach of snaps. There's really good things about all of them, but all of them also have like a little bit of caveats. That's why when anyone says like which one is better, I'm like, who cares? They all work together in the same system. Just use all of them.
I mean, I've got snaps and flat packs both here on Manjaro. It just depends on things from the AUR. I mean, I just grab whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, whatever is working. Yeah. Who cares? That's what I go with.
If I need the program, I'm just happy to find it.
Yeah.
Mike, how many flavors swap files too? I know we were talking about that a while back. We know Ubuntu was going. Are all the flavors going to go to swap files?
They should. Swap files are awesome.
Yeah. But do you know if they're going?
Yeah, but is that a flavor or is that a base thing?
No, Ubuntu itself is doing the swap file structure, and anything can adjust it. It's just how you do the infrastructure, whether you do partitions or files. And the swap file is way better. Like it's such a better thing. It's more convoluted and complicated to set up if you've never done it before. So Ubuntu switching to it is fantastic because it makes it so much easier for everybody to utilize it. And like that kind of thing, like a lot of distros have done that. Like OpenSUSE has swap files by default. Like there are a lot of things that every distro should just use it, because like the only difference really is like they both accomplish the same thing, except the biggest difference, the most beneficial difference, is that a swap file is dynamically allocated. So you don't have to lock a certain amount to your swap. It will be whatever it needs to be at the time, and then when it doesn't need to be, it'll just shrink because it doesn't need to be.
Yeah,
it's
and where that would come in handy is, for those of us that do a lot in VMs, you're so limited on space. I hate creating a swap partition. It's just wasted space. Yeah.
And when they ask you, and then this installer won't have to ask you how much swap to use. And people have, what swap should I use? Who cares? It'll do it automatically.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I was like Rocco pointed out that I was wondering if it was going to be flavor by flavor, or was it going to be the base itself, like Rocco pointed out.
Well, the problem with that is that sometimes the flavors have the ability to do something they don't. So it's possible, like Ubuntu itself is doing it. A flavor could implement that as part of their core, but they might not because they're not required to do so. So I don't know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't be something where the base does it and automatically the flavors get it.
No, like that's pretty much nothing is like that. Like there's that's not true. It's not a part of the main core that requires it. No.
Okay.
So
it would be a flavor thing.
It would be. It's a part of the installer, and because it's part of the installer, the flavor can choose to include it or not. Like for example, some of the flavors chose to include the telemetry collection, whereas some of them did not. So they could just choose to use it or not. I think they should all. I mean, they likely would all choose it to use it anyway.
Well, like the minimal installation. So
many chose and some didn't. Yeah,
but they do have a choice in that.
Yes, the flavors do have a choice to use it or not.
Okay.
And they are also the ones who choose which packages are removed or not. So Ubuntu just provides an infrastructure. Is like, hey, would you like to use it? And the flavors go meh, or yes.
Yeah.
So most of the time they go with yes, but not always. Like the way Ubuntu Mate is doing the telemetry thing is, Rocco, you would love that because it's exactly what you wanted. It's a screen that just says, here's what we're asking you to do. Here's why this will benefit us. Would you like to send it or not? And that's it.
Yeah, that's exactly the way it should be.
Exactly what you asked for.
There's two buttons: send telemetry or not. And
see, why? See, that's all I wanted from the beginning. Is don't force it on people. Don't check it automatically. Just give them the option and let them choose. And you can get your stats. You can get all your stats that way.
The only problem is the way that Ubuntu Mate did it. Technically, is not a part of the installer. They did it in Ubuntu Mate Welcome. So
it's like a post installation. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just close Welcome and never answer the question. But I agree that if you took that approach and put it into the installer, it'd have been fine. So I agree. I don't have a problem with it in general, but like, yeah, it's you still get if you put it a part of the installer and it has to be clicked some way.
Yeah,
it accomplishes the same thing.
There you go.
Dolphin just asked, how does Hibernate work with a dynamic swap file?
It works in pretty much the same way. You just have to specify how it'll basically see how much your RAM is currently using, and then it'll adjust the size of the swap file to put all that into the RAM, into the swap file. So it's basically like when the swap file is not using it, it's essentially like a text file. Not really, but as far as the size goes, it's almost nothing. And then when you want to put something into the swap file, it adjusts itself it automatically allocates before it puts anything in, and then it puts the stuff in, and then waits for you to reuse it. And when you pull it back out, it unallocates that space.
Oh, he's asking about resume. Yeah.
It should remove everything. I haven't tested hibernation itself because I typically don't use hibernation, but in suspending, it does disable that. But it does remove the spaced allocation. It does go back to where it was.
Didn't Rocco Martin reference something about that in your interview too, about letting the computer go to sleep or hibernate or whatever? I thought I remember him talking about that in your interview. Because I normally don't do that. When there was issues with it waking up or whatever and having some and I remember him saying something about that and just saying don't do it or whatever. And I don't know if it's something they're working on or not, but because I know I used to put this to sleep instead of shutting it off, and then after doing it maybe several days in a row, and then you go to wake it back up, all of a sudden it's like it just had a hissy fit and stuff wasn't working right. I had to reboot it anyway. So
right. I don't know. I don't remember if he touched on that or not.
I never bother with hibernating anyway, so
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about just even going to sleep. If you just put it to sleep at night,
I just shut it off and that's it. It boots up so quickly it doesn't really matter.
I just leave it on.
Yeah, I never turn my machine off. Yeah,
I do use suspend. That I do.
I rebooted my machine.
With a laptop, it's nice.
Yeah, I understand. Like with a laptop, perfectly makes sense. But I use my desktop most of the time. So I was gonna reboot and test a distro, and before I did that, I had to run uptime in my terminal to see how long it was. It was 38 days.
Wow.
So, jeez. And that's not even the longest that I've ever done. That was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. And move on. Let's go ahead and reboot now.
All right. It is pumpkin time.
Yes, definitely.
So, Joe, last word.
Wait for the point release and play it safe.
Nice. Lamer? Lamer, hold on. You're muted. Hold on.
Good point, Lamer.
Okay, you're not muted, but try it again. No, we can't hear you, brother.
It's Pulse Audio again.
Yeah, it's Pulse Audio. It's that Linux Lite you're on, dude.
Yeah, it's a beta though. So
can y'all hear me now?
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
All right, Linux Lite 4 is going to be the next big thing when it gets off beta.
When the audio works off of beta.
Called it.
Yeah, something was messed up. It was on my Snowball mic. Then for some reason it switched to my laptop microphone. Then I tried to switch back to my Snowball. And
welcome to Pulse Audio.
Yep. Pulse is great.
Yeah, whatever. Derek,
you should do the Pulse Audio challenge.
Yeah, what I think I'm going to do for a response to DOS Geek is I'm going to tell everybody that he hates Xmonad and they should all contact him about
it. Hey, Derek, contact me after the show. I might have an email address to give you.
I've got his email. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. I'm not going to do that to him because I hated these people emailing me. I'm going to send them to their Twitter account. He's going to get
cringed when you said that, just thinking about those emails I've gotten before.
What's wrong with Haskell?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Jansu?
Yeah.
Last
Have
word?
a good one. Have a good one.
All right.
Good night.
Tom?
It's the week of Ubuntu.
Yep, it is. Barb?
If you don't like a particular desktop environment, go use another one. Don't keep complaining about it.
Amen.
Never said.
Yes, ma'am.
Scrap Joe. You're on mute, dude.
You on pulse?
Oh my gosh.
No,
He's
that's
on
Jack.
pulse.
He's on
That's
Jack.
Jack messed up. You want me to use Jack? He can't even get his audio working.
Have you seen his setup? He's got like 900 buttons.
See, this is why you don't use Jack.
You don't know Jack.
I don't know Jack. You're right. I don't.
Well, we're in good company, bro.
All right. We'll come back to scrap. Ryan.
Destination Linux, Rocco. You can get it on any platform.
Any platform?
Any
does that
platform
mean?
you want.
Does that mean that we'll have to pay for it now?
No. Nobody has to pay anything unless they
Okay.
want to, of course, just like always.
So we'll still get it.
In any platform you want. YouTube, Twitch.
You'll still get it?
Or your podcast. You can just download it.
You'll still get it.
You still get it.
Thank you.
We had an issue with our latest episode. We needed to clear that up.
Yeah.
You mean we won't behind the paywall? No.
I
Michael?
actually got Destination Linux on Spotify.
Yeah, man.
Nice. I love it.
So, Destination Linux live tomorrow.
Yeah.
There you go.
Prophetic.
If you can send me something else I can put in this red cup because I still got a couple days left in my GNOME challenge.
You'll make it. You'll make it. You're strong.
If you're drinking up,
I got water for now, but I might need something else in this cup.
Carl.
There is no way to like Destination Linux on Google Plus Music or Google Play Music. There's no way to upload it.
Dasky, get on that, buddy.
Yeah.
Bogus.
Michael, get on that, buddy.
Is it not there?
No, there's nothing there. You can't. Only on podcasts. On songs, you can thumbs them up, but nothing
It's
else.
on the Tom. It's on there. It's just there's no way to upload
I mean,
it.
it's not. I think it's
How'd you
impossible.
how'd you get on? Not to get sidetracked, but how'd you get it on Spotify? That's like the hardest one to get podcasts on.
There's ways to pay to get it, but they've actually kind of they've removed the ability to request to get added for the next month or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I got my podcast up on everywhere except there, and I unfortunately have to use a separate stupid publishing platform to get it in there anyway to see if it works.
There's a way to submit requests to get them to do it, but they're ignoring it for the next month. And one of the hosting companies said that.
Even all the hosting companies. Yeah, even on all the hosting companies, they're ignoring requests for those as well.
Spotify.
Yeah. So Zeb's last word is to catch Destination Linux live tomorrow. Today for him.
Today. Today for you as well.
Today for us too.
Yeah.
Right.
already
Yeah, I guess it is already, huh? Oh my gosh.
It's almost. I got 30 minutes left.
Not for me.
Scrap. Last try on the last.
Can
last
you hear
word.
me now?
We can hear you now, brother.
Yep.
I had restarted something and I forgot to unmute myself on my end. I have a little bit of a little bit of different setup now.
You
But
got
yeah,
Jack.
scrapdraw.studio. I have MIDI and OSC tutorial I'm working on right now.
Nice.
So
very nice.
I'm still going to do the open source stuff, even though I have a closed source app that I'm using that actually has really good support.
I don't think that's as long as it runs on Linux, who cares?
And it runs on Linux just beautifully. Nice. Bitwig Studio. If you can afford $400 for the full version of it,
so
I
open
can't.
Source it is.
Or if you can find somebody selling their key on KVR forums, because find stuff at a discount and get it. That's my final word on things.
Cool.
All right. Destination Linux live tomorrow. Noon? Is it noon? Is it noon tomorrow? Ryan?
We never decided.
We haven't.
Well, how are we going to tell everybody it's tomorrow and we didn't even decide a time yet?
Okay.
We're on Michael's schedule sometime between noon and 6 p.m.
Oh, my gosh. No, it can't be. No, it can't be that late. No, dude. No. Got things that got to get done.
Ryan, that is completely fair.
Yep.
That's on Michael's time.
Okay, so noon it is.
So let's say noon. Let's
Noon
just
Eastern.
say noon. We'll play it by ear.
Noon Pacific time or Central time or Eastern time?
Noon Eastern.
Time.
There you
Eastern.
go.
Noon Distillation Linux time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be heading to Milwaukee, so I'll have to check it afterwards.
Everybody have a
second, when
great
Scrap
night.
started playing the music and like the outro, I was like,
Have a good night.
pretty good.
Right.
See you, everyone.
I was thinking like, Rocco, did you added extra outro music or something? I was like, oh right, it's Scrap. Of course it's Scrap.
Of course it's Scrap.